Good morning, pumpkins, and welcome to today's lesson. We are going to cover Unit 3, Lesson 7, the past with helping verbs. And for those of you that have your books, you can turn to page 110. We will be discussing page 110 and page 111. For those of you that do not have your book, you don't have to worry. The presentation is going to cover all of the pages, plus I will be uploading not only the discussion pages, but also the extra practice page to Google Classroom. Okay. Before you get started, I need you to do something for me, okay? I need you to, number one, find a quiet spot in your house. This means your TV is off, your phone is on do not disturb, or you could give it to your parents. And if you are working on your phone, then that means TV is off, radio is off, and we are finding a spot where you can focus on what are you listening to and on your work. And number two, I need for you to get all of your materials, and this means your notebook, your book, if you have it, pencils, pens, sticky notes, loose leaf paper, anything that you think you may need to use for today's English class, okay? So pause it if you need to work with any of these, and then press play when you're ready to go. So today, when we're talking about the past with helping verbs, of course, the topic tells you that we will be using in today's lesson helping verbs, okay? And we studied the 23 helping verbs. As a matter of fact, we learned a lesson, okay? So I want you to go ahead and show your parents. I want you to sing to your parents the song that we learned in class with the 23 helping verbs, okay? But today we're mainly going to focus on 3, and let's get to that. So you already know that you add ed to most verbs to show action that has already happened in the past. And there's another way to show that something has already happened. So with the use of helping verbs, has, have, or had, with the past form of most verbs, we form the past with helping verbs, okay? The helping verb must agree with the subject of the sentence. And we already discussed in previous lessons that the subject must agree with the verb. Remember lesson 4, subject-verb agreement? If the subject was singular, then the verb changed according to the rules. And if the subject was plural, then the verb stayed in its base form. You didn't do anything to it, okay? I hope that you remember that. If you don't, you could go back to your pages. And if you have any other questions, just email me and I'll answer any question. Okay. So we go back to learning some rules when we are working with this. And not really rules, but things that you have to remember in order for this to work. And notice that right now we are focused on the helping verb, okay? So it says agreement with helping verb, and we are going to work with have, has, had. So when you have a singular subject, you are going to use, so with singular subject, you use have. Example, Jillian has joined a circus. Now, don't forget that when we're talking about verbs in the past tense with helping verbs, we're talking about a verb phrase. Remember Batman and Robin? So you're always going to see a helping verb with a main verb, such as this one, has joined or has traveled. In this case, we're using has. Why are we using has? Because, right? Excuse me, let me get that out of the way. Because the subject is singular. So when the subject is singular, we said that we are going to use has. So Jillian has joined a circus. She has traveled all over. Notice that the main verb, it's in its it's in past. It's already formed in the past tense. And then we have the helping verb has because the subject is singular. Okay? Number two, with plural subjects and I or you, don't forget that these are our exceptions. Remember our exceptions? So with plural subjects, that means if the subject is talking about more than one person, one thing, or one idea, it just has, the subject is more than one. And we also have the exception I, and we have the exception you. So when we're working with plural subjects and I or you, we are using have. Okay? So then let's look at the examples. Horses have learned tricks. First thing that we notice is that the subject is plural, horses. We're talking about more than one horse, okay? So horses have learned, here we go. Here's the verb phrase, have learned, and it is with the helping verb have because the subject is plural. It's talking about more than one thing. Here we go, have learned. In the second example, you have dropped your ticket. Again, we're using the helping verb have. Why? Do you guys know? Because you is an exception. Very good. So because you is an exception, we are going to use have to help the verb in the past tense. Okay? So then you have dropped your ticket. It would not be correct to say horses has. Horses has learned tricks, Mrs. Villahermosa. No, that is incorrect. It would have to be, the correct form would be horses have learned tricks. Another example of something that it's incorrect, it even sounds incorrect when you say it. It really sounds incorrect. So you has dropped your ticket. You has dropped your ticket. You see, it doesn't even sound right. And because you know that you is an exception, you know that you have to use have. Okay? Don't forget that plural subject should be paired with the plural form of the verb. Okay? So has is a singular form of the verb, and have is the plural form of the verb. This is why we pair it up with plural subject. Okay, so put your hands out. Remember, singular subject, singular form of the verb, and we pair it up. Plural subject, lift your hands real high. Plural subjects are paired with the plural form of the verb together, okay? Now, number three, with either singular, pay attention to this, okay? Pay close attention to this. With either singular or plural subjects, use had. So let's just say that had, he's a friendly guy. So had would just go either with a singular subject, and we can use it with a plural subject as well. Helping verb had is not as picky as the first two. If we could just come up with a crazy idea for you to think of it. So let's look at the examples. Let's look at this one. Bears have danced. Bears. When you look at it, you know that bears is more than one. And let's look at the verb phrase, had danced. Bears had danced. In this sentence, although the subject is plural, the helping verb had is doing a great job helping the main verb danced. We can use it. Bears had danced. Let's look at the second example. A clown had hurried into the ring. Who or what is a sentence about? Who had hurried into the ring? A clown. Clown is the subject. And when you look at it, clown, is it singular? Is it just talking about one? Or is it plural where it's talking about more than one clown? No, it's just one. So this is singular. And notice how we are still able to use in the verb phrase. This is our verb phrase here. Had hurried. We can use had, because had you can use with either singular, right here, look, it says it right here. You can use it with either singular or with plural subjects, okay? So if your subject is singular, then your helping verb should be has joined. This should be the helping verb that you use with your past tense, okay? And the reason why we do this is because it's something that has already happened. She has joined the circus. That's something that she has done, okay? So let's work with some practice. And before we do that, let me get rid of all of these red lines, circles, and arrows so that we can move on to the next page, okay? Because otherwise, you know what's going to happen? All of these lines and arrows will be on the next slide, but not necessarily where I want them to be, okay? So just bear with me for a minute. Okay, so let's continue. Now try it out. And for those of you that have your book, we're on page 110. We're in the try it out section. And it says, speak up. What are the helping verb and the main verb in each sentence? And so we are going to identify the verb phrase, okay? That's all we're doing in this section. So what are the helping verb and the main verb in each sentence? Are you guys ready? Okay. So, number one, we have watched the circus with Aunt Millie. I want you to first identify the subject. Who have watched the circus with Aunt Millie, right? That's a way of you finding the subject. Or you can ask, who or what is the sentence about? And if your answer was we, you are correct. So we. So now, excuse me. Nope, that is not what we're doing here. We are just identifying the helping verb and the main verb. My apologies. Okay, so we have watched the circus with Aunt Millie, so we identify the helping verb and the main verb, have watched. If this is what you said, then you have it correct. If this is what you thought, you did it correctly. Number two, she had invited us 2 weeks ago. I'm going to give you a few seconds for you to identify the helping verb and the main verb. And when we have a helping verb and a main verb, we call it, yes, a verb phrase. So for number two, if you said had invited, you're answered correctly. Number three, Ray has hurried to the circus grounds. Okay, I'm going to give you a few seconds. And the answer should be, or the one that you said, if it was has hurried, then you answered correctly. Yes. The first act had started. Yes, had started. You guys are really getting this. The ringmaster has stepped into the ring. Come on, try to find it. You can do it. You got it. Yes, has stepped. Okay? Now, I want you to focus in this. And in this, although it's not part of the instructions, and this is why I paused, because you know how I always ask of you guys to follow directions, so I needed to do the same. But let's talk about this for a minute. Let's look at number one. What is the helping verb in number one? The helping verb in number one, if you said have, then you're correct, have. Now, I want you to look at the subject. We. So, plural subject, we use have. Are you guys with me? Okay. So let's go to number two. For number two, identify the helping verb. Yes, had. Had is the helping verb here. And now I want you to look at the subject. She. She is a singular subject. Whoa, is that okay? Yes, it is. Because rule number 3 says that with had, you can either use a singular subject or a plural subject. So she had invited us 2 weeks ago is correct. Okay? Let me erase this as I go along so that you know exactly where we are, right? Okay, so let's go to number 3. Identify the helping verb. Ray has hurried to the circus grounds. And if you identified has as the helping verb, then you are doing a magnificent job. You're doing a great job. Now let's look at the subject. Ray. Ray, is it naming one person or is it naming more than one person? Ray is naming just one. Yes, so Ray is a singular subject, and this is why we use has, because we use has with singular subject. Perfect. Let's go to sentence number 4, okay? And give me just one quick second because I erased something here that I didn't want to. Okay. So the first act has started. And again, we're going to identify the helping verb. And if you said had, then you're correct. Let's see if I could change the color. Okay. So let's try this again. Let's see if I can do this in a different color so that it really pops out. Okay, so if you said had, you're correct. Now let's look at the subject. The first act had started. We're talking about an act, right? So like when you go to the circus or you go to see a play, you know how they have first act, second act, different people coming in and doing different things, right? So in a circus, they do have different acts because they have different people come up and do different things. So we're talking about the act. In this case, first is acting as an adjective. So this is your subject, act. An act, we're just talking about one, and we're using the helping verb had, which is correct because had you can use with singular subject or plural subject. This is a friendly helping verb. Remember, it doesn't really matter if it's a singular subject or a plural subject. You can use it to help the past tense. Okay, so let's move on. And I'm going to go ahead, because I'm already ending this slide, I'm going to go ahead and erase the rest of the drawings that I've done. Okay, so number 5, the ringmaster has stepped into the ring. We're going to do the same thing. You're going to identify the helping verb, which is had, and then you're going to look at the subject. Let me hear, what is the subject? What is it? If you said ringmaster, then my friends, you are correct. Yes, ringmaster, when you look at it, you know that it's naming just one. We're talking about just one ringmaster. And we use the helping verb has with the past tense stepped, and it is correct. Okay. So let's move on to the next page. Now, for this section, according to the directions, you were supposed to underline the helping verb once and each main verb twice. Let's see if I could do it with if I could do it on the slide so that you guys can see it, okay? So we're pretty much, if you notice, we're pretty much just identifying the helping verb and the past tense form. We are identifying the verb phrase, okay? So let me try to see if I could find a pencil that it's a bit thinner than, let's see, where am I? Okay, so example, I have enjoyed the circus. Notice that have, which is the helping verb, is underlined once, and the main verb, enjoyed, is underlined twice, okay? Now, number 6, you have liked it too. You have liked it too. Now, we identify the subject, you, right? And then we underline each helping verb once, and then we do the main verb twice. How is this looking? Good. And actually, we didn't have to. I keep bringing you back to the subject because it's something that you have to look for. You cannot forget about the subject when working with the helping verb because the subject has to agree with the helping verb, okay? So number 7, the ringmaster has cracked her whip. I'm going to give you a few seconds between sentences so that you can actually try to come up with the answer, okay? Challenge yourself. Let me see if I can figure it out. So the ringmaster has cracked her whip. So if you said has is the helping verb, you're correct. And correct is the main verb. Of course, your lines are going to be much straighter than mine because you will use your pencil when you guys work on the extra practice if that's something that the directions ask you to do. Okay, so number 8, the elephants had paraded in a circle. Identify the helping verb. What is it? Had. Very good. And now identify the main verb, paraded. And we do it twice, okay? Because if I only did it once, then I would be telling, or I would be saying that that is the helping verb, and that would be incorrect. Okay, number 9, they have walked right in front of me. Did you find it? Yes, have. How many times? Just one time, yes. And walked 2 times. You guys are so smart, I'm telling you. Number 10, one chimp has grinned at the audience. Ooh, that's scary. Okay. So, has, identify it by underlining it once, and grinned, underline it twice. Number 11, we have clapped loudly for the performers. Try to find it, come on. What's the helping verb? What is it? Have, yes. And then the main verb, clapped. Okay. Good, 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 good. Now, let me just ask some questions. Here's some random questions. In number 6, we identified have as the helping verb. Why do you think they use have in this sentence? Can you tell me why? Huh? Speak up. Yes, because the subject is you. And what do we call you? You is an exception. Perfect. Okay, so if you were able to answer that, you are heading in the right direction, my friend. So don't forget that with plural subjects, and I or you, we are going to use have, okay? So number 7, has. Why do you think they use has in this second sentence? I'm going to give you maybe 5 seconds to come up with an answer as to why they use has. You got it? Yes. Ringmaster is the subject, and it's a singular subject. And number 1 states that with singular subjects, we use the helping verb has. Now notice that all of the main verbs are in the past tense. Did you notice that? And each one of them was formed according to the rules that we studied in the lesson before this one. We already learned how to form the past tense. So if you look at it, if you look at these verb phrases, notice that the main verbs are already in the past tense form. See? And here we have words with double consonants, and here as well. Okay? So we already learned how to form the past tense. Now we're working with the past tense, the past with helping verbs. So this is why our focus is mainly on the helping verb, because the helping verb has to agree with the subject. Okay, so let's go to number 8. The elephants had paraded in a circle and they decided to use had. Why do you think they decided to use had in this case? Yes, it's something that they had done. It's okay, that would be a good answer. Is it okay to use had? If you said yes, thumbs up to you. Don't forget that this is the friendly helping verb, and if you answer that as well, that is correct. This is a friendly helping verb. That means that helping verb had can be used with either a plural subject, such as elephants, right? Or it could also be used with elephant, which is just one, because the helping verb had can be used with either a singular subject or a plural subject. Are you guys with me? Okay, so let's get rid of these lines. And I hope that you guys are really getting this. I want you to copy the 3 rules either in your notebook, in a loose leaf paper, in a sticky note, anything that you could write it. You can make it fun. You can use your pens. You can use a marker. If you want to just do it with the pencil, you can do it. You can do it in different fonts. But don't forget that it has to be legible, okay? I want you to be able to read it and just have it with you so that when you guys are working on either homework or any other assignment, you have that page with you. So it reminds you what it is that you have to do, okay? So you are going to copy the chart, agreement with helping verbs, and you are going to copy the 3 rules, and you are going to add the sentences with the examples that they gave in the chart. Also, if you want to go ahead and add your own sentence for each one. So for rule number 1, they give you 2 sentences. Let's go back for a minute. Let me show you, because this is really, really important. So with each rule, they give you 2 sentences. You see it here, 1 and 2. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So what I want you to do is I want you to write your own sentence. So you're going to give the chart an additional sentence, and you are going to practice, okay? So just add one more here, one more here, and one more here, okay? Using the rules. So for number 1, you'd have to write a sentence with a singular subject, and you have to use has, and then a verb in its past tense to create your sentence, and so forth and so forth, okay? So, where were we? Okay, so we did this one, so now we're here. 12 through 18. This poem have 7 incorrect helping verbs. And this is my favorite part because we have to do some proofreading. Love it. You are not going to write the poem correctly. We are just going to discuss it. Example, a dog have jumped through a roof. What? A dog have? Oh no, teacher, that is incorrect. We only use have with plural subjects with I or you. Dog is a singular subject, so we should use, can you tell me? Yes, it's already there. Have. Perfect. So this is why they changed it. Okay? So we have 7 incorrect helping verbs, and I want you to keep track of this. Okay? So at the circus is the topic. The acrobats had sailed through the air. Read it again. The acrobats had sailed through the air. Is there a mistake in that first sentence? Come on, identify the subject and then identify the verb phrase and see if they agree, if the subject agrees with have, has, had, because that's what this lesson is all about, right? So if you said that there is a mistake, thumbs up, you got it. There is a mistake in that first sentence. What is the mistake? What is it? Has. Very good. Has is incorrect. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's just sort of cross it out. So has, we cross it out. And what should be the helping verb that we use for this first sentence? Have. Very good job. Okay, and this is our, first mistake. So it should say, the acrobats have sailed through the air. Good. Let's go to the second sentence. They have dangled on ropes without a care. Let's read it one more time. They have dangled on ropes without a care. Again, we identify the subject, we identify the verb phrase. This is what you should be doing in your head. And if you said they for subject, you are correct. And if you said has dangled, you are also correct. So let's go ahead and underline it. That's fine. Has dangled. Let's get used to doing it 2 times so that we can show the difference. Okay, so now that you've identified the subject and the verb phrase, you're going to look at the helping verb. And then you look at the subject. We learned in rule number 1 that we use helping verb has with a singular subject. So your question should be they. Is they singular? No, it's not, right? That would be incorrect. So we have to cross out helping verb has. And let's try to see if I can, oh, it doesn't let me. Okay, so because they is a plural subject, the helping verb should be what? The helping verb should be have. That's correct. So for number 2, have is the correct helping verb. And I'm just going to add it here next to it. Okay, try to see if I could change this, but it doesn't let me. Let me see. Come on. Give me just one quick second. So I'm trying to move this number 1. Oh, brother. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Bear with me, guys. Okay, so we need to go back to where we were, which is here. There you go. Okay, so number 1, we're just going to leave it there. Okay, and let's continue. I can't leave it there. It's driving me crazy. Sorry. So I'll just add it here. So number 1, the acrobat have. Okay, sorry guys. You know, I was not able to continue without moving that. Yes, my OCD. Okay, So the third sentence, one clown hath balanced a chair on his nose. One clown hath balanced a chair on his nose. So we identify the subject. And if you said clown, you're correct. This is what we're talking about, or who we're talking about. And we identify the verb phrase, the helping verb with the past, the verb in a past form, have balanced. And now we are going to see whether the subject agrees with the helping verb, okay? And rule number 2 states that we use have with plural subjects, I or you. The word clown is just talking about one. So this is incorrect. They do not agree, okay? So I cross out have. And what helping verb should we use? Which one? If you said had, you could use had, you're right. What would be another option? Have, yes. And that's a good one. If you said had, don't forget that you can use had with singular subjects or plural subjects, but I don't want you to always use had, okay? Let's try to use has and have as well. Okay, so number 4, the others have sprayed the crowd with a hose. Again, we do the same thing. We identify the subject, others. We identify the verb phrase, have sprayed. We identify the helping verb and the main verb. And now we are going to see whether the helping verb agrees with the subject according to the rules that you should have next to you because you already copied them. Okay. So others, has. We learned in rule number 1 that we only use has with singular subject. Is others a singular subject? No, it isn't. So we need to cross out has, and we are going to change it. What are we going to change it to? What is the correct helping verb to use in this sentence? Again, if you said had, it's perfect. And if you said have, it's great. Okay? You can use the others had sprayed the crowd with a hose, or the others have sprayed the crowd with a hose. Either answer is correct, okay? Next one, a monkey have carried off the ringmaster's hat. A monkey have carried off the ringmaster's hat. We identify the subject. Stay with me, guys, we're almost done. And then we identify the helping verb with the verb in the past tense, or the verb phrase. That would be the correct form. And now we have to check, we have to verify, make sure that the subject and the helping verb, that they agree, okay? And we have a singular subject here. And in the table, we read that singular subjects go with the helping verb have. And this one is have. So this is incorrect, so we need to fix it. We cross out have. And then how do we make this okay? How do we fix this? A monkey, it's a singular subject, so we can use has, good, or hat, okay? Don't forget that either one is correct, but I don't want you to overuse had. Next one, nobody had plans on that. Nobody. So, is this correct? Do we have to make any changes? Don't forget that we're looking for 7 incorrect helping verbs. So far we have 5. Nobody had plans on that is correct. Okay, don't forget that had either goes with singular or plural subject, so we're doing good. Let's go to the next one. The lions have settled down at last. The lions have settled. That even, I don't know, there's something about it doesn't sound right. So we go back and we do the same thing. Although the directions are not asking for this, what I want to do is I want to discuss it so that you guys can get the hang of this, okay? So we identify the subject, lions, and we also identify has settled as the verb phrase. And now we have to look at the helping verb, and we are going to look at the subject to see if they agree or not. So we have has, and we know has is supposed to be used with singular subjects, okay? So we look at the subject and we see lions. And lions, it's a word that's talking about more than one. So we know that that will be incorrect. So we have to correct and cross out has. And then we say the lions, what would be the correct helping verb for this? The lions, if you said have, you're correct. And if you said had, is correct as well. So we have 6 out of 7 mistakes. The next one, the show have ended much too fast. Let's read it again. The show have ended much too fast. So we identify the subject, which is show. What happened here? Show, okay. Bear with me, the show. And we identify the verb phrase, have ended. And then now we look at the subject and we look at the helping verb to see if they agree. So we know that we use have with plural subject, with I, or with you. We look at show. Show is not a plural subject. It's not naming more than one, right? And we know that if it's not naming more than one, then it's definitely a singular subject. So what are the options that we have for singular subjects? Let's work on this. How can we fix this sentence? The show, we can say the show has, good. The show has ended much too fast. We can also use the show had ended much too fast. And again, I don't want you to overdo the had, okay? So I hope that you guys are getting this. Let me get rid of all these notes that we're doing here so that we can continue to the next slide. Now, I've noticed that some of you are working on your assignments before you hear the class discussion, okay? So I need you to be sure to hear the class discussion and then work on the assignments, because the idea of it is for you to learn it first and then practice what you've learned. And if you do one step ahead of the other one, well, that's not necessarily going to work, okay? So let's continue. Okay, so again, it's important, students, that you listen to the class discussion before you work on assignments. And now you guys are going to work on homework page 131, which is your extra practice. You are going to follow the directions of the page. And tomorrow, we are going to join a live class using Zoom. So I'll meet you guys at 9 a.m. so we can discuss the extra practice, okay? So work on the extra practice page now. Don't forget the format, page number, date. You guys are forgetting to do this. The unit, the lesson. This is unit 3, lesson 7. The topic, the past with helping verbs. You are going to work on the 3 sections, the circle, the triangle, and the square. You do what the directions tell you. And then tomorrow we meet at 9 a.m. using Zoom to go over the page. All right? So that's it, guys. Get to work.